Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
Talking about the tales where the shadows crawl. Chapter by chapter, we've covered it all. From the capes and cows to the darkest night. Every film, every fight, a fancy light. Turn the page, Gotham's glory awaits. Batman on film, where legends create. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels, where the story is bright. I'm Batman on film, the legends alive. Break down the madness, scene by scene, where the city's pulse and dark dreams convene. From the old to the new, the saga unfolds. A vigilante sail in the echoing cold. Step into Gotham where justice turns. Through words and whispers, the bat returns. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels where the story is bright. I'm Batman on film, the legend's alive. In the shadow of the night, tales untold. Pages turn as the saga unfolds. Join the journey in this timeless quest. Batman on film stands above the rest. Oh, we ride through the Gotham skies. From the bat's rise to the villain's eyes. Turn the reels where the story is bright. I'm Batman on film, the legend's alive.
Welcome to Chapter 10 of Batman Begins Chapter by Chapter, a Batman on Film podcast celebrating the 20th anniversary of Christopher Nolan's game-changing film. I'm senior contributor Javi Trujillo, and rejoining me today is a fellow senior contributor to BOF, the hero of Hyrule, Sheriff Ryan Haas. What's going on with you today?
Hello. I got very depressed when you reminded me that it's been 20 years since this movie came out. But the good thing is that we've had 20 years with this incredible. So I'm just going to retain that in my heart today.
It is really weird to think about it because I was watching a James Bond podcast yesterday, and someone in the comments was telling the host Calvin Dyson, like, next year is like the 20th anniversary of Casino Royale, and it's like that's
right.
Like that feels like one of the new Bond movies, but if you think about it, like 20 years old is not new anymore.
Yeah,
and
when you're like a kid getting into this stuff, 20 years is like super ancient history. Like growing up. Yeah, and it's like the 60s Batman when 89 is coming out. Something kind of like that. It's just like, oh. Yeah, that's old.
But I still think of it as like a modern contemporary movie, even though it's like 2 decades ago. So
yeah.
Well, have you been into any cool new Batman things lately?
I have. I know that's a surprise to the listeners, but yeah, like I don't know, like I think the powers that be at DC and McFarlane and such are, I don't know, they have figured out that they really need to make things targeted towards people like you and me who have, I know this economy's not the best or whatever, we don't, everything's more expensive, but You know, our generation, I think, is the one that is still trying to cling on to like, but we want fun stuff that reminds us of our youth. So, when McFarlane makes $100
Oh
duck,
wow.
you gotta get it. Like I
Yeah.
got it. Did you get the duck
I
with
did
the
not get the
penguin?
duck because I don't know where I would
Ooh,
put a duck, but
I
that
don't know
looked
where you
yeah,
see my
right.
room. I don't know where this is going, but I still had to get it. Um, yeah, it's one of those things where like we know that
That
McFarlane
is
is
pretty cool.
it's pretty cool, but McFarlane is like losing the license for the figures, right? So they're going out with a bang for sure, like and making a whole legit Batman Returns line where we get really good representations of all these characters, and we get our first like figure-sized duck vehicle, and we get our first ever like actual Max Shrek figure if you're lucky enough to even like
Yeah.
one,
Yeah, I
which
heard
I'm
about
I'm
that.
not, and that's what's frustrating about that being a collector of this stuff is like who only people like us would know and care about like, yeah, there's a Max Shrek action figure, and then not be able to get it like the day the pre-orders are live is just like it's terrible. And I'm gonna have to pay some jerk 60 something dollars on eBay to get it or something. So that's frustrating. And the stickler in me, and this is horrible for the listener because there's no visual, but like
They can't see.
this
Yeah.
is the thing. I'm not sure. Like I'm gonna have to look at the Batman Returns movie to figure this
God,
out. But I
that
feel
thing is
like
impressive, man.
it's impressive. It's cool that they, of course, they make it to where um it is a different penguin, same head, different body,
Yeah,
right?
that is cool.
And if you happen to get the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Penguin Commandos, it comes with a penguin accessory set, like an extra coat and stuff that is different than the main penguin action.
Oh,
You'll have like sewer penguin in the sewer jacket and like mayor penguin in your outfit. So it is kind of like well thought out in that regard. Um,
yeah.
but I am looking at the duck and I do wonder, is the duck too big? Hmm. I don't know. Like it
Well,
does fit the penguin and they'll get the things back there, but I'm like,
you gotta have
it's
room for
huge.
Max and Chip in the back.
You need Max, and you need the penguins in the back, and I think it is definitely big enough for that, yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but it's awesome, though, and I'm sure it doesn't telescope up and all that, but it's pretty awesome just because it exists. Um, McFarlane's going crazy with the Batman miniature Batman cowls, I've been getting those. I've gotten every one of those, actually. Um And then, of course, like Batman Revolution, I'm like, I've just started this thing. Um, and it is weighty. It's definitely
Is it
bigger
bigger
than the
than the last book?
it's longer than the last book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a chock full, like it's 500 plus pages
Oh, wow.
uh Batman. So
Okay.
yeah, so like and I've only just started it, but I've been talking to Pete Vera about it and he's enjoying it so far also. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed Batman Resurrection. Did you read that
Yeah, I
last
just
year?
finished it like 3 weeks ago. I
Yeah,
got
like
into it and then I put it down and I put it on a shelf that I forgot about. So, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Oh, wait, I never got back to it." So then I plowed
yeah,
through it when they showed 89 in theaters the other month.
mm, mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So it's cool. It's like so to conclude that, just like um, feels like DC's doing a pretty darn good job of offering new Batman content and products focused on the things that our generation really enjoys. I've got like new Batman Returns figures and Batman cowls and a whole novel series taking place and filling in the gaps between um, Batman '89 and everything. And I was thinking about that this morning too when I was rewatching the time codes for the moments of Batman Begins that we're going to discuss. But I I love the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, obviously, it's like the best
yeah.
thing ever. I'm a big fan of the novelizations of the Dark Knight trilogy. Also, Denny O'Neil wrote the first two of the three, which are also covered on. I covered with Lauer on the Batman Book Club. There's a
Yeah,
little
you
plug.
frolicked about 'em.
Yeah, we frolicked about those. Yeah, they're really really good. And um, But thinking about those and comparing it to something like Batman Revolution, that's a gap filler. I'm like, I don't know if I'd ever really want a novel like that for Dark Knight trilogy stuff. Like it just feels like those movies are just so insular, so compact.
Well,
Like
I mean, where's
where
the
would
gap?
you the gap is
There's like
between Dark Knight and Dark Knight
between
Rises
yeah, but
and the
he's
7
not
years.
he's not Batman for that time.
He could be. He could have been
Yeah,
Batman
I mean,
for
you could
a
stretch it,
little bit. There's
but I
the moments in the
mean,
Dark Knight Rises like, "Oh, you haven't been down here in a long time." Like, there were upgrades made and changes made. It would probably be a very low energy, depressing book for sure.
yeah,
Like, if you filled that 7 years in or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of room to fit in
like there's
other
just a little
villains
bit
and
between
things.
Begins and Dark Knight where
Right,
the Joker's been doing stuff
right.
that there's a
Yeah.
little bit of playroom there,
And you have
but
when we did have the animated
yeah.
thing, and I like that a lot. Although
Yeah,
people could consider it not canon, but it's a very interesting thing that happened. And I do like watching that from time to time. Just thinking
do
about
you
it would still
remember
give me
when it was
chills a little bit.
supposed to be Christian Bale or someone had said it was gonna be
Yeah,
Christian Bale doing the
yeah,
voice?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was originally going to be Christian Bale because it's a tie-in. It's a
Yeah.
tie-in. It takes place in that world, and yeah. Which was interesting because, like, that was, like, our first I don't wanna say it was, like, a false bill of goods, but that felt at when that what was it? Was it Gotham Knights? Or
Yeah,
Gotham
Gotham
Knight?
Knights.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotham Knights. There's just a lot of things with that
That
title,
are
but, like,
yeah,
when it came
TV
out,
show, game,
that would have we
series.
covered that on Batman Animation yet?
I don't think so. Not to my
Yeah,
recollection.
I wonder if that would be best served as a do the whole thing or do individual episodes for the different,
I feel like
stories or something.
it's at least a two-parter to give it its due. I
Yeah, and it's like Batman's, like, Animatrix,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a lot of ways, right? And it's
Oh,
just
totally.
yeah, like, I remember when that came out and it felt like, "Oh, this was cool. We have a brand new era of Batman. We're gonna have, like, these extra, ancillary media things that, like, tie into it in its own little world and stuff," and
Some written by comic creators like Greg Rucka.
yeah, 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 like, we had,
Yeah.
like, that, we had, like, the Batman Begins video game, and it felt like, "Oh, we're gonna get stuff like," and it just kinda tapered off a lot after Bat Begins, but it feels like with The Batman, we're getting a little bit more
We're
curated
swinging back to
content
that.
just
Yeah.
because we do have, like, the Penguin series and stuff, and, you know, everybody's saying, like, "Oh, the Batman Part 2 could be, like, it might just be a duology, blah, blah, blah," but I'm like, "Eh." Like, I feel like the only thing that's gonna ruin that is Warner Brothers and
Yeah.
all the nutso stuff going around their finances, but, like, you can't you can't call something an epic saga and there only be 2 parts to it. So, that's just what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, The Empire Strikes Back, when that came out, the trailers were teasing the Star Wars saga, and
Already.
that was already only the 2nd movie, so
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, it's easy to look back at it now and be like, the Star Wars saga, but they were calling it the saga back in 1980, so but there
Mm,
wasn't all the TV shows and books and comics and
right,
toys and
right.
games and all
And
that
I
stuff.
still think the 3-year gap see, I wasn't really like that wasn't my era when the original trilogy of Star Wars came out, but I always was of the opinion that that 3-year gap between films, plus just the era of media with, no internet,
Yeah.
no social media, like, that really helped it cement its place in pop culture.
Yes. Yeah.
It was able to kinda percolate, and it was in the theater. You can only see it in the theaters for so long because VHS wasn't really a big thing. Yeah, and, yeah, so I think that, like, had a whole lot to do with it. Plus, it was just at a, very interesting point in, like, film changing, um, whereas, the sequel trilogy that we have, the most recent sequel trilogy is just, Force Awakens was huge. That was, like, one of the last big, like, things I remember of
Yeah.
a movie feeling that huge, other than, Avengers Endgame and, Spider-Man when it came back after COVID, but yeah. But those 2-year gaps between the sequel trilogy movies, I think, really kind of hurt that foothold.
That and
The
not having
momentum.
a fixed
A plan.
direction they wanted to go in. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we all know, this isn't a Star Wars podcast, but, like, Lucas didn't have a plan set in stone when he made those, but he's one dude doing the whole thing, and it's a different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say the same about the Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, sure.
You know, that was kind of one at a time too. It wasn't this
One at a
grand
time.
plan.
One at a time, but, like, the people at the top making the movie were really good filmmakers, and
Yeah.
they were able to have that amount of time between each film, and, like, no one needed to make
And
films
make
between.
those connections. Yeah.
So there's something to be said about, like, letting the quality and time speak for itself. And I'm trying to listen to my own words as I become increasingly frustrated that it's going to take 5 years or whatever to get the Batman Part 2. But I hope it lives up to the wait.
So my perspective is, like, this has kind of been like the saving grace for my fandom, like, in a post-COVID world.
For all
Like,
fandoms.
you know? And
Yeah.
I'm like a big James Bond fan, and that has been nothing but an uncertain hot mess.
I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Yeah,
For,
because I
the last 6 years at least.
Semi-depressed. The only thing I would be excited about for James Bond right now was that new video game that got announced.
Yes, already got the deluxe edition Don't know where I'm going to put the golden gun, but that's a problem for March of 2026. But comparing the two, it's like with Batman, it's a constant presence. The second season of Cape Crusader is being worked on. We know they've been working on the Batman Part 2 despite the strikes. We had the Penguin to kind of fill in the gaps. There's at least one new Batman comic every week. There's action figures. There's the Lego game coming. So, like, I never feel like there's a lack of Batman in my life.
Yeah.
So while it sucks that we don't have a movie soon,
it's
like
not as it's not as yes, it's a tent pole, but there's so many other things that fill the gap. Like and that's the other thing. I just finished, like, 2 years later. I just finished my Lego Batcave shadow box from Batman Returns.
Oh, nice.
And it was just, like, amazing. And you just think about how time passes, as an adult versus a kid. And my daughter is just like, I'm gonna be 10 by the time this is done. I'm like, I'll show you, kid. She's like, I was 6 when you started this, and now I'm 8. What is happening? She's just like, it's been here like forever. So I finished it. I got an aftermarket light kit, and it lights up. It's like the coolest thing in the world. So adult toy collectibles based on Batman Returns. Like, somebody knows what's happening. There's some, like, line item on a sheet. It's like, like, these people will spend money on this stuff.
My brother-in-law got me the 66 Batmobile, like the huge one.
The big one.
I've had it for months because I was working, like, on an F1 car, and now that I've been done with that, it's like, well, I need to get to that Batmobile, but it's like, it's 2025. If I just wait a couple more months, it'll be like an anniversary year for the show. So, like, what? I just build it during the 60th anniversary. It's like, that's what I'm doing to celebrate, is building this Adam West Batmobile. So
I have a Adam West Lego cowl. The small
I
ones.
saw those,
and I still haven't. And that's been. I've got a backlog of Lego sets at this point from things I bought and things people have given me. But I would. Former BOF contributor, or like a couple of iterations ago, Matt Whaley gave me that cowl for Christmas one year, and it's just kind of like hanging out next to the Batcave. Like, there's some good point, to build it. It's a small one, it's a cool one, but it's just like there's just so much Batman going on all the time that you got to figure out what it's time.
And we haven't even, like, talked about Batman Aztec or whatever it's called.
Yes. I think Bill's wanting to. I mean, I brought that up. Like, I watched it the other day. I really liked it. I was very pleasantly surprised by it, and I kept bringing it up in the BOF text threads, and I'm just like, we need to talk about this. Like, I think it's really good. Why are we not talking about it? So yeah, so that will come soon. I think Bill. I think I convinced Bill to give it a shot.
That you've definitely got piqued my interest in it, so I need to pick that up
Mm-hmm,
at some point
Yeah,
because it's not out on Max yet, right? You've got to buy
it's
it
not on
to
Max.
watch it.
I just bought it. Yeah,
Okay,
bought
but
that
based on your
4K.
recommendation, I think I'm gonna pick up the 4K then, since
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things where like my little pitch for people if they haven't given that a shot, like yeah, you could wait for Max or whatever. But if you're somebody that enjoys Elseworlds Batman stories, like good Elseworlds Batman stories, if you like Red Rain or if you like the Green Lantern one or whatever, give that a shot because that's exactly what it is. It's just and it's not like and it's well animated, it's well told, it's got like a good voice cast behind it. The actor that played El Diablo in Suicide Squad 2016 is the
oh
voice
yeah,
of the Batman analog in this. But Jay Hernandez, I think.
yeah.
And yeah, he was really good. So yeah, you have to watch it with like no expectations and an open mind, and you need to have be familiar. You don't need to be familiar with the Elseworld stuff, but just like those kinds of stories where it's a reinterpretation of a legend. And I think people that have listened to me on BOF for years knows that I'm always saying, "Oh, I love Batman because he's so malleable and stuff." And this is that's just another good example of that, of where they can take like these like what is Batman? It's this, that, and the other, and then translate it into a new story. Which in a lot of ways that's kind of like what Nolan did for Batman Begins. He just distilled the big important big ticket things and like grounded it and gave it like an earnest. But yeah, it's worth watching. Not with kids though, because it's rated R. It's very bloody.
Oh, geez. Okay, then. Duly noted. Speaking of Nolan, for today's episode, the reason
Nolan.
we're here, we are looking at what we've designated as Chapter 10. He's flying on rooftops, which starts at the 1 hour, 32 minute, 37-second mark and runs till 1 hour, 45 minutes and 9 seconds. Ryan Haas,
Yes.
are you ready to begin?
Molossus.
We open with Gordon carrying the still catatonic Rachel out of Arkham. Batman meets up with him, and Gordon says he'll go get his car, but Batman says he brought his own, loads Rachel in, and the tumbler roars to life. Running over police cars, they begin their getaway. So, with this chase being filmed on location, how does it compare to, say, the one in like '89, which was on a backlot?
There is absolutely a lot more kineticness, a lot more movement. It's just one of those things where it's like different interpretations, different filmmakers, different goals. They're both exciting and interesting in their own way, but this one, there's maybe more. Yeah, there's like more stakes to it, and a lot builds to it. The cool thing about both of those scenes is it is kind of like the big introduction of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
We've in Batman Begins, of course, we see it a little bit as Bruce is working with Lucius to abscond with certain things of the Wayne Enterprises armory. But this is the debut of like the all black version, Batman's version, and you get to see what. And it's a really interesting comparison because in both scenes, like you can see what this Batmobile is capable of. And in '89, it's like an extraordinary vehicle in an extraordinary world. But in Begins, I'm like watching it on my other monitor. It's the cool thing is like it's an extraordinary character, an extraordinary vehicle in a more grounded normal world. And that is what's so cool about Begins as a movie is that you get to see what it feels like for someone to become Batman in the real world, as it were, and to see the cops and and the news and the Arkham inmates just react to like, what is happening? How is
Yeah.
he doing this? Which I think is cool. It's like just and the music, the way the music built into that scene, it just feels like I remember watching this in the theater, just be getting very I get very emotional at many points in this movie when it first came out, but this one was this whole scene represented like, oh, okay, like he's Batman now. This is he's he's the confident Batman, maybe bullishly so, like too confident, but like he's got all of his wonderful toys at this point, and he is executing them, and people have to deal with like Batman existing, and I think it's a really cool kind of thing to see like Gotham as a city start to react to this force that is finally like operating.
I feel like it's another example too of just the scope of this film. Like,
Yeah.
we open up with, him trying to find, the League of Shadows, and you have these great sweeping vistas of the world. And, here we are in this Gotham, and we're really getting a good look at the city and, just the ground level, so to speak. And
Hmm.
while you have Batman racing around the city in like in 89 or forever, like those are backlots, and
Yeah.
there's a different vibe to, like you were saying, like seeing it in this more grounded reality. Like the fantastical aspects pop a little bit more.
They pop.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's not as like pretty from a production standpoint, but like it heightens the scene
But
for
that's
me.
and it's part of the art direction. Like
Yeah.
they have control over and that's what they're going for is this grounded, realistic stuff. And Gotham was always based off of big metropolitan cities, New York, of course, but like the seeing just it's cool because like in 89 you see the craft of filmmaking in terms of, oh, look at that amazing production design, and they built a Batmobile that can look like that and kind of works, but then they have to have all the craftspeople that are able to do the miniatures and the technical stuff to like make it work, which is all present in Begins, of course,
Yeah.
just in a different way, different seamless kind of way, but in Begins, like yeah, not to undersell, like Begins has actually really, really nice miniature work, especially for that era. Like, but in Begins, seeing like, oh, they filmed like in real locations in Chicago, and they had to build, and they built a Batmobile. They built a vehicle that really can do a lot of this stuff, um, and just use it with the production design of the vehicle and the bat suit and the lighting and everything and the cinematography also, just to see it like all working like for real. And that was, and obviously we all know that's Nolan's whole thing, is to try to just do it on film, do it in camera, don't rely on special effects unless it's really, really needed. Like, don't make it a shortcut, make it a, it's just a tool, but make it a, put as much in camera as you can, and that absolutely comes across on screen to make this like Batman like you believe it more.
Yeah. And I think it benefits too that, you're not driving by the Monarch Theater, 3 times during the chase sequence,
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
like
Like the whole
having
backlot is like two things. Yeah.
yeah, like having the world and having the different environments, because we're on the ground, we're on the highways, then we're on the rooftops, like we're in a parking garage. So there's like a lot of different aspects to
Yeah,
this set piece
and
that
I
really distinguish it.
yeah, and I always out of the 3 Dark Knight trilogy films, have always liked, and most Batman fans that are more grounded in um non-film media, I would say, usually tend to agree with me when I say that um Begins has like the best blend of visuals out of the 3 in terms of what represents Gotham City and Batman's world like the best, because while they did use many just real locations, like this car scene chase taking place in Lower Wacker Drive in Chicago, but you get a really nice Batcave, you get a really nice Arkham Asylum and the Narrows sets. Like the Narrows parts were sets that were very art directed, while you got city stuff like in Chicago. So like that blend works really well.
Yeah.
But the changes but of course the changes they made for the subsequent Dark Knight trilogy films really fit what the story needed and required for those two films. But in terms of Batman Begins, like you've got that, and like you said, you've got the Himalayas, and you've got all this like uh world exploration type stuff going on in prisons and things like that. So um it's just a really good blend. So when the real world pops in, it does it like you said, it pops. And I've always liked how they were able to kind of go back to that same location for the car chase in The Dark Knight, because it's got that continuity, you know.
Yeah.
That's not and that had for whatever reason, that's not something that we really got a lot of in Batman movies until then, unless you count the '60s show, because the Burton Schumacher films, like Gotham City as a place, like kind of kept evolving.
Yeah. Like, I feel there's definitely more consistency between Forever
Consistency.
and Robin than there is between
Yeah.
89 and Returns.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that. You have like 3 movies that all feel like the same place.
Yeah,
But,
totally.
like prior Batmobiles, like the Tumbler has a lot of gadgets. Like, what special features excited you about it back in 2005?
Well, I'm glad that, I was it was the perfect time for me as a Batman fan to kind of embrace the change of what they were trying to do and accomplish with this. When they first revealed that first photo of the Tumblr, like a lot of people were freaking out. I was like, "Oh, this is weird," but
Yeah.
I want to see where this is going, because I immediately started to draw the comparisons of, "Oh, but look, that's like Dark Knight Returns tank. Like that's a tank." That's You start to think about like, these a lot of these elements and characters were created in, the late 30s and the 1940s. So it makes sense that if you're going to set this in a modern world, and it's interesting if seeing the Batmobile first, or some of these gadgets first. It's a really cool way to think about, well, what kind of story is this? Like if the filmmakers are doing their job right, the the function and look of the vehicle like should say something about what the story is. And it completely was the case. Like everything in Batman Begins has a reason to exist, and um all the pieces come together to be able to create like what Batman is. But it's still, at the end of the day, the Tumblr has many elements that are very Batman. Like I've seen like the technical drawing of the Tumblr where it has the subtle bat motif, and I don't know if it was Nathan Crowley's like drawing or whatever, but you see like the Tumblr, and then there's like a crouched bat that like fits over the top of the shell, which I thought was just incredible. Um,
Yeah.
I like that subtleness, like it's there and it was intentional and they thought about it, but they didn't have to put, you know, giant fins and a bat logo on it just because. Um, so I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed that they kept certain like elements like fire out of the back, and then the extra stuff about like the signature thing for the Tumblr, of course, is just the fact that it can fly on rooftops. It's a made as a bridging vehicle, and it can fly off rooftops. Just it enables Batman to do these extraordinary things in the world. And yes, and that's always been a cornerstone of Batman, and being able to kind of like through through technology and cunning and training, appear to be this supernatural force. And so like the way it ties into um what this story is trying to tell, I thought was always very admirable. And I like seeing the evolution of the vehicles in each of the Dark Knight trilogy movies. They're like urban warfare, like
Yeah.
vehicles. So, but there's a hint of fantasy in it too. So pretty.
I think like for me, like the thing that really, I don't know, captured my imagination about it wasn't the fact that it was a jumping vehicle, but just the fact that like when he went into that mode, like
Yeah,
his seating in the car changed, and we see the
yeah,
next step of that in the next movie with the Bat Pod.
absolutely. Yeah.
But just there was something unique about the fact that it was like
Mhm.
moving him around in the vehicle and giving him a
It
different
is
position.
toyetic, but without, like, being overtly so, which
Yeah,
I always appreciated. And the fact that it, like, works the way it does with him wearing like, that could have looked really awkward and goofy with him in that full bat suit, in Begins where he can't turn his head. Um, so, and I think Nolan has been on the record saying is like he for whatever reason, like the bat suit part of it was pretty rushed, and he wasn't like entirely happy with it or whatever, and that's why they did a lot of changes for Dark Knight. Although the silhouette and overall function of the suit and Begins, I like the best.
yeah.
Um, but you could tell like they shot the hell out of that suit and made it work for the film. Like I don't know, and even in this overall scene, there's like like they did more cool things with the bat suit in this movie, like than maybe the other ones, just in terms of like Batman's movement. Like when they're back in the Batcave and Batman just kind of does that quick jump and fly over with the cape just to kind of get to point A to point B,
Yeah.
almost like you're playing like the Art and Arkham video game. That's something you would do in the game. Like
Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
that was awesome. Like, and you don't see as much of that in the other two movies. And there were plenty of moments for them to do things like that. So uh, I appreciated being able to that they would intentionally throw in those like comic booky things if you're looking for them, you know, in this.
How do you think the stealth mode works on the Tumbler? 'Cause it can't just be the lights went off.
Oh, well, we see like plenty of the like the HUD and the cars, the screens and things in the car. So it's probably got what, like infrared sensors or something
It's
like
like the
all,
engine shuts off too, because like it doesn't have that
or it goes
roar
into quiet
anymore.
mode,
Yeah.
Maybe it just
It's
goes
like
into quiet. It's like a computer where you're like, I'm in gaming mode or I'm in stealth mode. Yeah, I'm sure it just has like an alternate mode where it like quietens things down and turns all the lights off, but it's got sensors all around the vehicle. I'm sure where it can like sense where it needs to navigate. Like I thought that was very believable and very Batman. Operate in the shadows. I think it's always cool when you see a Batmobile that really does act like an extension of Batman's methods, and to see
yeah.
the Batmobile be able to do that, I thought was really cool. Really kinetic.
Like
The actual
the current volume of Batman right now, um, by Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez has a new
Mhm.
Batmobile that's electric.
Of
And
course.
I was thinking about that compared to like the Batman, where such a key feature was how it
Mm.
just
How
growls to
loud
life
how
and
aggressive
how
it was,
loud it is.
exactly.
But with like an electric
Yeah,
car, like those are, because it doesn't have that combustion engine, they're quiet.
they're
I'm
very quiet.
like
Right.
that's a really good in some regards, that's a really good vehicle for Batman to have that
Yeah,
electric car so he
yeah,
can stealth around more.
yeah.
Um,
It just fits the story, right? Because
yeah,
it's like the Tumbler fits with this, even with like I can just imagine it just, like in The Dark Knight, and it's like, "Oh, we just shine the bat signal even though I know he's not coming because, I want people to know that, he's out there."
yeah,
And the, or that he's working or whatever, but, like, and the Batmobile's the kinda same thing. It's loud and has a signature sound, so people are like, "Oh, shit, like, Batman's here." So and I think that fits the Batman also. Like, that Gotham needs, some dramatic examples too, clearly.
yeah.
So yeah, like but then, stealth James Bond Batman needing something that's very quiet is cool. And it's in some ways preposterous, right? To be like, oh, yeah, like this giant tank is gonna just like sneak around the whatever, but like it does, and it's at night when Batman operates,
Yeah.
and even in the Dark Knight Rises, they even like the bat functions like that, where it's just like can like the way it appears in some scenes is very quiet. Oh, it was behind this building. And
Yeah.
now it's loud when it wants to be. It's hover mode versus like moving laterally.
I'm sure you've seen the MTV parody Tank Man Begins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think didn't they even put that on the DVD for Batman
Yeah.
Begins? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It sometimes it's like that pops into my my head when I watch
Yeah.
the scene
Yeah.
is the whole just ridiculousness of that.
Yeah.
But as as Batman takes Rachel back to the cave, I feel like I'm making a lot of comparisons in this episode, but it's hard for me to not think of when Batman takes Vicky back to the cave in '89. Like, do you get
Sure.
reminded of that as well? Like,
Oh yeah.
how would
Yeah.
how would you access your Bat cave? Like, are you a sliding door behind a hologram or like a jump through a waterfall guy? What would Haas's Bat cave be like?
I mean, I've always liked the behind the grandfather clock thing.
I know from like the Batmobile
From the
perspective.
Batmobile perspective,
Yeah.
uh hologram the waterfall. I like the waterfall. It's just I like that natural feel. Um the hologram was interesting, but that it was
Not
almost
very
like
clear. You had to read the comic to understand what was going
yeah,
on, I think.
yeah, and it's you know, it's a little too but 60s Batman. Um, but here, like, it fits with Batman Begins, the story too. It's like it is a cave system underneath the thing, and then there's like a natural waterfall. It's like Bruce Wayne using the things that surround him to his advantage to kind of um create this creature. So yeah, I've always liked that, and I've always liked the visual of and the visual of like it ties in with
The Tumblr.
the Tumblr. Like
Yeah.
it's there, it's kind of accessible, but you need a car that can jump, to get through it. And even in the Dark Knight Rises, I just love that, like the end shot where you see, or the end scenes where you see, um, you know, it's
John
not like,
Blake.
yeah, he had to, he sent John Blake some repelling equipment. Too bad he couldn't just give him
Yeah.
but that would have ruined the surprise. But
You're gonna
um,
do this and you're gonna swing in like the cover of Batman #1.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
that's how you get into the cave.
yeah.
Talk to me about the PS2 video game. Like, how do you feel the
Oh.
Tumblr level measures up to like other driving things, or just how that mechanic works in the game in general?
I haven't played it in quite a while, but but yeah, I my console of choice for the game was GameCube.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Nintendo guy, but I
That
do
makes
have it
sense.
on. I do have it on all three. Well, I would play. I would play it mostly on GameCube, but then I got the original Xbox version too. But
Does it play
yeah,
differently across the 3 consoles, or is it
no,
pretty
it's
much
the
the
same.
same?
It's the
Okay.
same. It's the same game. Um, But yeah, like those levels are just really good, and I believe what they use the same. It was either the same developer or the same engine as the Burnout games at the time, right? For vehicle maneuverability, and I mean it that actually continued a pretty nice long trend of Batman video games where there are these ancillary levels where you just get to be Batman in a vehicle, it's not the whole game, but it's like a couple of levels put in there. So, in like Batman '89 for the Game Boy, you get to fly the Batwing, and the in Batman Returns for the Sega CD, like it has those exclusive Sega CD levels where you get to play and drive the Batmobile around and the pseudo like 3D effects and stuff like that. So, but it's not the whole game. It's just like cool like extras, and so that's kind of what it felt like. I remember it feeling really good, looking very movie accurate. You got to do the boosts, and you got to feel like a big tank. But then even then, like you also there's also the Batman semi recent Batman arcade game where it should be just be called
Right.
Batmobile, because you're
Yeah.
playing. Oh, Batman, but it's a racing vehicle game, and you get to like control like all the Batmobiles or choose your Batmobile. But you can use the bat and the tumbler in that, and it feels great in that too. Just kind of tearing up the world. I don't remember in the Batman Begins video game if there was too much like destruction necessarily, but there was definitely like the boosting and the speed aspect of it and crashing into other vehicles and things like that. I remember being really impressed by it at the time
Yeah.
because when the game came out, it was and that game came out pre Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham Asylum. So it was just really impressive to have like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the first like legitimately good Batman game, and probably since the NES version or something. So yeah, it was really nice.
And a quick mention too to like Arkham Knight, where
Exactly.
you can't do some of the game features in the game as the tumbler because it doesn't
With the
have
extra
the
race
properties.
levels.
But the
Yeah.
race levels, yeah,
Yeah.
like that's really impressive just from an audio perspective because it has those engine sounds, but it also
Yeah.
handles differently than the Keaton
Yeah.
Batmobile or
Right,
the
exactly.
BVS Batmobile.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
you
Like the
really,
video game, the version in the actual game has a different feel than the Burton one, and that has a different feel than the Tumblr. Yeah. It's really cool when you can play a video game where they've thought about those things because it
yeah,
does in an interesting way. It's one of the closest things we have to kind of like get you even closer, more immersed in the mind of what that Batman, what it must feel like to be that specific Batman. So I thought that was that's a pretty cool observation.
we're going to take a quick pause in this podcast for a message from our sponsors. So safely back in the cave, Batman finds the vials of antidote that Lucius developed and administers one to Rachel. And when she comes to, Batman debriefs her. And again, like I'm just getting shades of
It's
89 here,
89. Yeah,
right? Am I reading too much
absolutely.
into that, or
No,
okay?
it's like the female love interest character is like kind of trapped by one of the main villains, and Batman has to kind of break in or show himself to get her out of there and get her back to the Batcave and give her some antidotes and like get it
And
to the
then knock
press.
her out
Like
again to get her home.
not exactly. It's like
Yeah,
it is the kind of the
yeah.
same thing. So
And there's a shot in this scene that I really like of him from behind, and you just see him like taking off the cowl.
yeah, I love that. I love that,
You
and I
know?
love that they found a way to do that without like
Ripping the
a way
mask.
to without showing the black because clearly it
Yeah.
would be there. It wouldn't be magic off, but they just kind of leave it. That does feel like a Nolan thing. He's like, oh, well, that would look too silly or whatever. But the gist is there where there's that it's that nice transitory beat between Batman action mode and Bruce Wayne. I have to like struggle with that duality mode, and you take the
Yeah.
cowl off. Um, so that's really cool, and that's something that comes up many times in the Dark Knight trilogy. But having a wordless moment like that, Batman Begins is the most mainstream of the three. There's many quips, and like this scene is probably one of the most I don't want to like the most amped up in the whole movie, where there's like a joke or like a funny observation like every couple seconds or whatever. But like to have that moment where he takes the cowl off as a good beat, uh, I thought was really nice. Yeah,
And then meanwhile, Gordon's at Arkham and his investigators examine all the fear toxin that's gone into the water for
yeah,
weeks now. And one of the officers surmises that they haven't felt the effects since it must be a compound that has to be absorbed through the lungs, which feels like a
right.
little bit of a stretch, like how he would
It's
just
a I
come to
mean,
this conclusion.
it's a movieism or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the way it's delivered is like, I don't know about this. It's very like matter of fact, and just go with it because it's like
This
an
is our
important
plot.
plot point. This is
And
our
we're
plot.
telling you
Exactly.
this is our
I
plot.
don't know. Like I didn't do any
Yeah.
testing, but it must be this.
But how does like the as we're starting to get an idea, like how does the scale of the plan work for you? Like we haven't hit the Skybeam era in comic book movies yet. Like
Mm.
does this feel like a big enough plan?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it works. It works for me. Um, it always like when it was first revealed, like, oh, Batman Begins, and the main villain is going to be Ra's al Ghul. I'm like, oh, on one hand, that's awesome because we haven't seen Ra's al Ghul in live action. On the other hand, oh no, Ra's al Ghul is kind of like super big time, like big stakes, big time, like
Global, yeah.
global stakes. Like, how are they going to reconcile that with a Batman that's fresh or whatever? But the way that they were able to kind of thread the needle and have Ra's al Ghul like be so integral in Batman's training was half of it. The other half was really making it like transforming the idea of the League of Shadows from global reset to make to like the terrorist angle, of make an example out of this city or that city, which is a real, very real thing.
And like it's
So
still global, but it's more focused, and it's like you said, it's more like
it's focused.
terroristic and not
Yeah,
it's not ecologically based
yeah. It
like the
respects
race in
the
the comics.
Yeah, it respects the more realistic idea that change doesn't happen overnight. Like, apart from like nuclear weapons and things like that, it's like very like, oh, we'll make an example out of this city and see the economic effect of it. And even Raish like talks about that where they've spent the last 20 years as a social experiment, like mucking up
Yeah.
the economics of Gotham City, or using that to like see what would happen. So yeah, I think the way that they worked that into the story, it's just very it just represents the whole thing of like this movie is about like Batman, and then everything kind of spreads out of that. So the plan feels appropriately big to me. And the parts that feel like they could have been bigger get paid off in The Dark Knight Rises. So it's one of those things. It's like by the time you get there, it kind of makes like each film of the Dark Knight trilogy strengthens its others. So.
They're definitely playing the long game when it
Oh
comes to
yeah.
their plans. Back at stately Wayne Manor, Bruce is now getting into his dinner jacket for his party as Alfred reprimands him for his actions that night, calling them thrill seeking and saying that Bruce is getting lost inside this monster he's made. And Alfred gets very frustrated with Bruce and his
hmm
dismissal of his guests, trying to defend the Wayne family name. And Bruce says he doesn't care about his name, which instead of looking back at 89, Bruce and the Batman also echoes
Yeah.
this statement.
Yes. Of course.
So why do you think this is like a staple of the character? You know, what about this like theme like resonates across like the different iterations that we see of Batman?
Well, I think part of it comes from the fact that you try to have Bruce Wayne, Batman, as a character that he only makes sense and only operates when he has a vision, a mission, a reason to exist. And when he does that, there's always the tendency for him to do it for the wrong reasons, or reasons that serve him or whatever. Like as a vigilante, there's always that fine line that Batman walks. And Alfred, as one of Batman's and Bruce's closest confidants or closest people to his life and his mission, of course, is always going to have opinions about how that goes. And Alfred in these films has always been kind of one of Bruce's closest co-conspirators, right? So, um, and of course, like Alfred's always had that, for the most part, that tie to the Waynes, to Bruce's history as a person. Alfred has always been such an interesting character because it's like he has to kind of have the old guard of Bruce Wayne before Batman and after Batman, and he kind of had to raise him and stuff. Like it's a very interesting relationship, and so I think that's one reason why it's all Alfred's always present. Is like he's one of the few people that's known Bruce like the longest through his entire life. You know, even later on when you have a Gordon or Robbins, they don't have the same kind of holistic view of Bruce Wayne from the very beginning. That's still in his life. He's like Alfred's the most consistent person in Bruce's life across most all forms of Batman media.
Well, it's interesting that like comparing this to the Batman, how they're very similar, but because of the tone and the performances, like they're also very different. Like there is
Yeah,
much more of a father-son dynamic in Begins versus the take on it in the Batman is at that point it's like employee employer,
yeah,
like Alfred doesn't feel that way, but like Pattinson's Bruce to Alfred, like he doesn't want to admit the familial relationship, I
yeah.
think because he doesn't want to get hurt.
Right. Well,
And then,
you even see
you know,
kind of a semi related thing to that relationship in the new Cape Crusader animated
yeah,
series too.
yeah. And this feels more like father to teenage son. Like you're doing it
Hmm.
wrong. And he's like, no, dad, I'm going to do what I want
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I'm right and you're old and wrong.
yeah,
Uh, but Bruce does walk out to his party amidst a chorus of people singing happy birthday, greeted by Mr. Earl and a bunch of people who probably don't really know Bruce Wayne at all, if
yeah,
he's only been back for like a week.
yeah.
And Bruce asks Earl how the stock offering went, and it's a bit technical, but the company's future is secured.
Hmm.
And meanwhile, like Alfred is looking sketchy AF as he loads the passed out Rachel into the
I
car.
always thought that was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what do you think the staff was saying to each other? Like, you know, like,
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
and then we go to back to Arkham, where Gordon's questioning Crane, holding the Scarecrow mask in his hands. Like, do you prefer
Mm.
like the Schumacher Arkham or like the Nolan Arkham?
I mean, I like the Schumacher Arkham. I wish we would have had been able to see a Burton Arkham because that would have been like the
Oh man,
obviously best thing. I think Arkham is
yeah,
the one of the things you can really
lean into the
explore and
goth.
lean into the Gothic part of Gotham. It's an institution. It's been around for a long time. It doesn't have to be PC because it's been around for so long and there's all this history to it and everything like that. So it doesn't have to feel like like anything else. Like it can really tie into things. But if it's but having said that, like the Arkham in Begins is perfectly serviceable, and they definitely were able to use it to their advantage by being able to say like, oh, it's been around, it's old, like it's corrupt, and so they were able to use like like it did serve the very like
Yeah,
technical purpose of the story about like them being able to kind of get the poison into the water supply kind of thing. But yeah, it's I wish we had more of a comic book Gothic Arkham Asylum.
it's definitely. I mean, it definitely has that Nolan like real world, like it feels like a real
Yeah.
um, facility, like a hospital type thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, not very well kept, but it's very, very bright. I feel like
Yeah.
the Schumacher ones has like this dank, dark look to it, and while this one is very dirty, it's also very well lit. you know, like a
Yeah.
functioning hospital would be.
Yeah.
So, but just how cool was it to see like Scarecrow in a straitjacket? Like,
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
that
like,
was awesome, and then, of course, like, the way like, I love the way Begins builds up the other characters, it's also it's yes, it's Batman Begins, but it's also Scarecrow Begins, and the fact that you start with, you know, um, a Jonathan Crane that is the Scarecrow, but he's, like, early Scarecrow, and the fact that he gets to the end where he it does it a lot of Nolan's movies do this to where it builds up to something and it pays off, and it has a you just don't get fully formed Scarecrow just out of the blue, which is fun
yeah,
sometimes. But for this kind of movie, it's cool that like there's a reason in some sort of arc that leads to the Jonathan Crane Scarecrow with the mask on, with the straight jacket, like on a horse, fire breathing horse, like towards the end of the movie. Like I think that's just awesome because yes, it's a quick moment, but you get that and you get the um there that's the thing. It's like there are people forget or underplay like how many comic booky moments are in this movie where you get all the
yeah.
fear gas stuff and see fear gas Batman and stuff like that. It's like so because when those moments did happen in the theater, I was like I was more shocked and more surprised than I would be if I was watching a typically comic book movie for lack of better.
Yeah, those heightened moments really do pop because, like we said before, like of the grounded nature of the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And back at the party, Bruce is conferring with Lucius as they figure out the depths of Roz's plan. And Bruce tells him to go make more antidote, but Fox says he's been fired and doesn't have clearance. To which Bruce remarks, "That wouldn't stop a man like him now, would it?" And
Yeah.
and
That's
what do
another
you
one of those
make?
movieisms.
Yeah. What do you think of the tone in which Bruce interacts with Alfred and Lucius, and how does it compare to like his relationship with Gordon?
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, you would
Because they're
think
all on the same team.
they're all on the same team, but I think, thinking about it just for a second here, I think the separation there with Gordon is that, you know, Alfred and Lucius are closer to Wayne Enterprises, are closer to Bruce's father, Of course Alfred's always been there, but as you work your way through this movie, you see him like he's got to do more to kind of get Gordon on his side and kind of realize what he's doing. But for Fox, it's like, oh, like he has a personal connect, like he develop with Gordon, he develops a relationship between Gordon and Batman. With Fox, he makes a relationship between him and between Fox and Bruce,
Yeah.
and that connection between I think that probably says all everything there, right? And the fact that Fox worked with Thomas Wayne, I think also is a big factor there. So it's a easier, you know, he gets into the Batman side of things through Bruce instead of the other way around. So I think that is kind of part of it there.
And it's like if you think about it, like he's only known Lucius since he's been back versus, Gordon who he met as a child, but
Mhm.
really didn't know him then either.
Mhm.
But he just seems to, because of the nature of everything, like he's far more like intimate with Lucius and like more relaxed, more, joking than the more kind of standoffish professional relationship he has with Gordon, even
Yeah.
though, it comes from that moment. But like part of me wonders like if that's because like in this version, like Gordon was there for him at like the worst night of his life. And so there's
Mhm.
kind of like there's an affection, but like an emotional distance as well because of how he
Sure.
came into his life, you
Sure.
know. And
Sure.
obviously
Plus
that we find out in the end that had a profound impact on him as a child,
yeah,
getting
absolutely.
that coat.
Which is great. Yeah. And yeah, so I think that yeah, that's part of it and just this Batman and in Batman Begins you do get a very probably, it's one of the first times in one of these movies where you get a really good sense of the private Bruce, the Bruce, like Bruce Wayne in public, Bruce Wayne in private, and then the Batman
Yeah.
persona too. But even his Batman in this movie has different shades. You get Batman interacting with criminals, Batman interacting with Rachel, Batman interacting with
The little
Gordon or
boy.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Young Joffrey or whatever. So
Let me
like,
give you
it's
this toy here. That's not
yeah,
really a toy that costs $10,000.
exactly. Hmm.
And now we get to the prestige of the movie. Before
Hmm.
Christopher Nolan made The Prestige, he was putting The Prestige in his films.
Hmm.
Uh, when a woman that I thought for the longest time was like a low-key Gossip Gertie cameo, but it's
Uh,
not Elizabeth Saunders. I thought it
yeah,
was her, like, just kinda toned down, but it's not. Um, but, this woman introduces Bruce to Mr. Raz Al Ghul,
yeah,
except it's not him at
yeah.
all. And then we meet the true Roz or Raish. But now, like me, I know that you're a big Denny O'Neil fan.
Yes.
Like, how did you react to this twist 20 years ago? And have your thoughts changed at all over time?
I love the twist 20 years ago. My thoughts haven't changed too much. I want to say, I mean, I think I knew everything that was going to happen in the movie because the script got leaked, right? And like that
Oh,
was
okay. I
for
think
folks like
Lauer
us.
said something similar, I think.
Yeah, so like I was, but it's still like when you see the script and it's leaked, like that's a possibility. Although when you watch the movie, you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe they changed it or whatever. But like, um, but no, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great because it just, you know, say what you will about Tom King, but Nolan did it first in terms of the, oh, now the whole thing's different. I got to watch it all over again, kind of kind of vibe or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like I always thought that was cool. It just added more depth to the movie, and it lets Ducard exist as a character earlier in the film, and then Ra's al Ghul as the thing. Like, I mean, I think it's just really, really nice how they're allowed to be separate characters that have different functions at different parts of the movie, but then ultimately have Ra's al Ghul be kind of like this phoenix emerging from the ashes. Like, oh, you thought this entire thing was like gone, but it's never really gone. Like it's its own Lazarus pit in a way, the way that like the League of Shadows
Yeah.
like reemerges at the end of the movie or whatever. So like I I really liked the way that they were able to kind of, just like a lot of parts of Batman as a character in Batman Begins, they're able to take like the idea of the League of Assassins, the League of Shadows, and kind of reinterpret it um, in a more earnest, like grounded realism fashion. Yeah.
I remember when Neeson got announced as Ducard and they showed like photos. I'm like, oh, that's like perfect. Like he looks like the comic book Ducard. Like, and it
Yeah.
makes sense coming off of being Qui-Gon Jinn that
Yeah.
he would once
Absolutely.
again be like the mentor
Like a
to
mentor
younger.
character. Perfect.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
perfect. And then
Yeah.
like that guy shows up and it's like, who's this dude? And then all of
Yeah.
a
The
sudden you
Ken Watanabe at the beginning, but then, yeah. But
the
then
guy in the
the other.
green, and he's in the green trench coat,
Yeah.
like
But really, but then as comic book
Raish
fans, you're
would
just
be.
yeah, but in comic book fan terms, like in my head, it's like, oh, but that's really Ubu. That's really like, his,
Yeah.
it's Ra's al Ghul's right hand man, kind of reinterpreted in here of like, So I think that I've always thought that was like a pretty cool like thing here.
And you get, like I said, you get that green trench coat, and it's like, well, okay, for a second, it's like, well, that kind of looks like a Raish outfit. And then you cut to Neeson and you realize that no, he is. And all of a sudden, it's like in my brain as I'm watching it, like the way his mustache is, how
Yeah,
it was longer than like Ducard's was in the books, then it's like, oh
yeah,
wait, like you kind of like I started to
yeah,
see him as Raish, and like you're saying, like
Yeah.
that's an interesting take on the Lazarus idea of it,
Yeah. Although they
Um,
never had like, the seeing Ken Watanabe in the more race get up was costuming was interesting. Like in one way, it's like, oh yeah, they could have had like they were close, like because a lot of
yeah,
time, like you think about the animated series version, it's like guy in a suit with the cape on. It's like, oh, if he only had the cape on, that would have been like it would have, and the cape would have been so good. But like, or the demon's head to actually have a demon head mask. But like he does wear
yeah.
a mask. He wears a mask later on, and Bane has a mask. Oh my gosh! Like there's some there's some connections there that just kind of echo later on.
Like comparing it to the prior anthology, you know,
Hmm.
where they were very comic booky in their visual appearance, but maybe not the characters I would have preferred them to
Yeah.
act like.
Right.
Like this is kind of the inverse of that, where they don't
Yep.
always look like ripped out of the pages, Gordon notwithstanding.
Right.
But the characters feel correct.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what I really like about having this, if you look at it from like an Elseworlds perspective, like this take
Hmm.
on Ra's al Ghul. And
Hmm.
because we have this and it's so good, like I wouldn't be opposed if like James Gunn wants to do a traditional Lazarus pit for, whatever the Brave and the Bold becomes.
Hmm.
If
And
they
that
were
is an
into
underrated, interesting thing to notice. Like, if the Brave and the Bold truly does like happen the way that it's been described, like that means that we should be getting some sort of
some
racial goal.
some of these
Uh,
elements.
hmm.
So like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing like, like I would still keep it grounded, I would imagine, because like Superman and Peacemaker don't feel like
Yeah.
the no they don't feel like the Schumacher or the Burton equivalent of like these weird
Yeah.
fantastical looking worlds, but they definitely have
Yeah.
all these comic booky aspects to it. So it's like kind of grounded and it's got its feet in both worlds is what I'm trying to say.
Be in both worlds. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that take on it because it doesn't diminish this version at all. So,
Yeah, yeah, and
you
I
know,
think like that you just open the Lazarus pit, you can't just it can't just be a throwaway thing, right? Like, oh
yeah,
yeah, it's the pit. I think there's got to be if you're going to do it in a movie, um and it's got to be meaningful, it's got to have rules. I think that's the thing. It's like you can't just have like, oh yeah, it's Lazarus pit and he comes back and blah blah blah. Like it's got to have rules and stakes. And I think some select comic book stories like have that built in, like with the way like Jason Todd was brought back, for example.
yeah,
Like every time, or even in the animated series, every time it's like, oh yeah, every time Raish comes back, like it takes a toll on him. Like, he has the temporary insanity. Like all this stuff is like kind of part of it. I think that there's room for expansion and clarification and rules. Um, one of my favorite um movie trilogies ever is Back to the Future. And, time travel is kind of another one of those interesting conceits. And one of the reasons I
yeah,
think that trilogy works so well is because the time travel has rules. And in the Dark Knight trilogy, like that world has its own inherent rules that the movie kind of respects. And whenever a movie just doesn't respect that stuff, that's when, like, whether you're cognizant of it or not, that's when an audience can like tune out. So, like, hopefully, um, that's something that is like as long as they start doing that stuff, like I'm all for like seeing more fantastical comic booky elements in a Batman thing, depending on the interpretation. So like of course like we've seen Matt Reeves and his world has its rules, but like if they start doing more comic book forward things with the James Gunn verse, as long as we see like good structure to it, then I think I'm down to see what they do.
and there's one thing that has always kind of not stuck in my craw, but like I've always like wondered about is
Yeah.
like this woman introduces Fate
Yeah.
Rod.
Who is she? What the hell? What's her
then,
deal?
like, when Liam Neeson Roz, like, starts to speak, like, her and the fake dude just kinda, like, walk off together.
Yeah,
I'm like, "That's such a weird direction."
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's
why would you be like, "Oh, you've gotta meet this guy, Bruce," and then,
yeah,
like,
yeah. It's
everything
like
just kind of falls apart and they walk off together?
yeah,
So, like, last night when I was rewatching it, I was like, "Well, wait a minute, like, what is this lady, like, part of the League of Shadows?" Like,
right,
is
right. It's
you know?
like on one hand, I think, and this is a thing, kind of a Nolanism. Like he will, I've noticed, like the conceit in the film as like he's big on film pacing and
Yeah.
the setups and the payoffs and the what your attention is focused on and the feeling and the emotion of those things. So I think in that scene, it's all about that reveal and that it's like, oh, I want you to be so like, oh, like surprised by the reveal of Neeson's character of Ducard being Ra's al Ghul that like, okay, you've already forgotten about the lady, like that doesn't matter, like whatever. Like you shouldn't be thinking about that part. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what the intent was there. But like watching it now, like it they do kind of the way it's framed is very, very subtle in terms of like getting her out of the picture and trying to
Mhm.
have you not think about it. But the fact that the fake Ra's al Ghul Ubu kind of escorts her out, it does feel like she's either part of the League of Shadows, which feels less like obvious to me, and more like a uh, you know, just somebody that they hired or like, got to do this one specific thing. Because just because the league works with people like Jonathan Crane,
Yeah.
there's already like precedent there of like the league being able to like hire external people to carry out whatever they need. So I think that's probably the most likely thing is like, oh, they got somebody to like show up at this party and we need you to go up to Bruce Wayne and do X, Y, and Z, and then this dude will escort you away. Like I think that is probably what's going on
Well, they have said that they've
here.
infiltrated, Gotham at all these different levels.
Exactly. So maybe
So,
there's somebody that they've been paying off for years, you know?
yeah, she could be one of those people that, you
Yeah,
know, they've
is under their thumb.
they've
Yeah,
planted and she's like just, socially talking to the rich people and
totally.
like,
Yeah, yeah, that works.
and there's a great little moment too with when she's trying to get Bruce's attention and like he's trying to brush her off, but he's like watching the room and he's just kind of looking around. It's like a really subtle Bruce Wayne Batman thing that he's doing,
Yeah.
like
It
just
would have
trying to
been
clock
oh my
everybody in the
gosh.
room,
Yes,
you
I
know?
love that. Like, I can see that, like, in a that's like Hush Batman to me, like Hush Batman, like, in a party or something, and I can see a lot of the text boxes coming up. "Gotta think about this. This person's
Yeah,
doing that. I've got this thing going on. How am I gonna, like, execute this?" And then ding, 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 like, I can see all that, like, happening. It's very comic book. It's really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, but, Ra's al Ghul Woman, I think if they really wanted to thread the needle more, they coulda just had that same actress, like at another party earlier in the movie or like in the audience at during like the hearing, the Joe Chill
Oh, yeah.
hearing or like at the funeral, like at that, at the beginning, like the Wayne funeral, they could just had her there or whatever. In the like, there's Mr. Earl talking to Bruce Wayne, and then there she is, like talking to somebody back. They could have done that, and I think that would have been awesome, like an awesome detail
Yeah,
to be like, yeah, we've been infiltrating this for like forever, and like here's another example of it. I think that would have been like a really cool like third level like payoff or something. But yeah. But in my mind she is there, right?
yeah. And we end, this chapter with one of my favorite Playboy Bruce Wayne moments when Bruce pretends to be drunk and insults everyone to leave.
It's so good.
And yeah, and he gets told, the apple's fallen far from the tree. Like, you start to see the disappointment in Bruce's face and, like, he
Mhm.
realizes what he's done. Um, what are your takeaways from Bale's performance in this scene?
I love it. we hadn't really seen, I guess, the closest we would have seen. I mean, the Schumacher Bruce Waynes are kind of closer to that of like the playboy socialite, but nothing as like egregious as like oh, he's like a complete flop. He's like a complete
Yeah.
like whatever. But I think in the context of this film, like it really works where it is like you see this like social media headline grabbing like oaf, like, oh, that guy. Like you
Yeah.
really would it really would be like he's in the spotlight. The culture is for, and like if he's that rich and that influential in town, you're gonna be like, oh, that guy. Like it would remove suspicion from him being Batman. So I think it's great.
And just the way that like he turns around and then all of a sudden starts to like sway
And just
as
like look
he's
at the
like,
drink and
yeah,
yeah,
as he's like tipping the glass and moving around, like he just, it's like a switch just goes off,
yeah, yeah.
and his
Yeah, like
performance is
I love
so
it.
good.
I love
Yeah.
it, and I love seeing it. I love seeing that in Bruce Wayne interpretations. Again, I'm gonna just sing the praises of Batman Caped Crusader in one of the early episodes where that Bruce Wayne. It doesn't
It's
come
not
out a
a
lot,
party
but
while
like
you fall
it's
out of
not a
the boat.
party and it's not a yacht party until somebody
Yeah,
falls overboard, and having him do the same
yeah,
joke twice, like stuff like that is just like pitch perfect.
yeah,
And so like seeing shades of that, and that's something I really hope we get. Maybe not one for one with Robert Pattinson's Batman, but like we need more of that. I need more
yeah.
like
I'm hoping we get
more
that in
shades of
part
Bruce
two.
Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah, as well. We've never really seen it before on film, because Adam West was very straight laced and socially conscious, and role
Mhm.
model Bruce Wayne,
Mhm.
and Keaton had just those, that idiosyncratic, like,
Yeah.
not
He
absent-minded,
doesn't,
but just,
but
but like
just like
his brain was on so
avoiding
many
the
other levels,
yeah, and
and
he's just
so
avoiding
he
the
would,
limelight kind of,
yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm just gonna put this pen randomly here because I don't know what to do with it,
Yeah.
kind of moment. And
Yeah.
with Kilmer, you definitely saw like the public Bruce Wayne who was socially minded, and same with Clooney, other than you get a little taste of the playboy where he's like, don't point it at my bedroom.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like he doesn't really have, none of them really have the same level of playboy Bruce Wayne that Bale gets
Mhm.
to do in this movie, between
Mhm.
the dinner scene at the hotel to this party now, and that
Yeah.
kind of, at the moment, kind of makes him my, you know, favorite Bruce Wayne,
Mhm.
because it just has so many different levels to it. And a lot of that comes to, the script and the story they're trying to tell, and what Bale brings to it. Uh, so that is our chapter for this week. Thanks again, man, for being on and
Mhm.
coming back for your second episode here. If you want to check out Ryan's earlier appearance, it was chapter 4 on this podcast. But where can people find you? Anything you want to talk about or promote?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, you can follow me on the Twitter at SMB_Ryan, which is my Super Mario Brothers. The SMB stands for the Super Mario Brothers Movie Archive website, which has its own Twitter at SMB Movie and SMBmovie.com. Those are my big things going on right now. Yeah, I'll occasionally post things on my main Twitter feed, but yeah, I'm just kind of poking around Batman on film as needed on a PRN basis. I do want to discuss the Aztec Batman at some point. So I've been bugging people trying to get a show for that. I don't know if it'll show up as a. I'm assuming it'll show up as a Batman animation episode in the near future. So if you haven't seen that, I would recommend watching it because I think it is definitely worth watching and discussing. It'll be even if you don't watch it, I think like just hearing people talk about it might get you on board to watch it. So um, I would say put that on your Batman homework list, and at some point soon we'll have a show about it up on the channel.
Yeah, I definitely need to get to that. And I still haven't gotten around to Batman Ninja versus
The Yakuza League.
Yakuza League. Yeah, I still need to get to that too. After
it was
wanting
also
a
good.
sequel for so long, like then it came out and I didn't get around to buying it.
Yeah.
You know,
it was
but I love the first one, so I'm hoping this holds up.
My quick thoughts for that one is like it's a step down, but still enjoyable, and there's good moments in it.
Does it look as good as the first one?
No.
Okay.
But
expectations.
It's not expectations set, and they changed all the voice actors. So like the voice actors are all like different. So like that consistency is not as like welcomed, just because like they don't do a bad job, but it's just like, oh, but it's a direct continuation. So it's not the same. So it feels like maybe the budget was lower or something for some reason. Which kind of does make sense, but story wise, it literally takes place like right after Batman Ninja 1. So it would be a very nice like double feature. So if you like Batman Ninja 1.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty cool. But again, going that whole Elseworlds, not that it, is, I mean, it's the characters themselves going to an Elseworld. So
yeah.
Yeah. But that is going to do it. As for me, you can go to batman-on-film.com, where I'm reviewing Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin Year 1, which ends as of this recording next week, as the final issue of that. I mean, that, if you've not been reading that, oh my God, you need to get on that. It's one of the best Year 1 stories that DC has done, in my opinion. From the writing to the visuals, it's just a beautiful book, and I can't wait till they announce like a proper hardcover deluxe edition. Give me an absolute DC. I will definitely buy that. So yeah, you got those, and of course you can go to our YouTube and listen, or wherever you get your podcasts, and listen to the chapter by chapter series for Batman Begins. We're getting into the home stretch now, so that is going to do it for us this week, and we will have announcer Rachel take us out.
You have been listening to Batman on Film Chapter by Chapter, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the cinematic adventures of the Dark Knight, scene by scene, chapter by chapter. Follow Jet on Twitter at Batman on Film. For BOF news only, follow at the Batman on Film on Twitter. To become a BOF patron, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm. To advertise on BOF, visit advertisecast.com/BatmanOnFilm. For Jet and Team BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original. Batman on Film. Established in 1998.
Rolling through the night, we're on a quest, searching for the truth. That man's the best. Every flick, every tale, we keep it alive. From Gotham's dark streets to where legends rise. Heroes rise, villains fall, keep the faith caught. On Batman on Film, know we got. You better tune in. Trying to fight, shining the light like a dark night. Headlines that inspire. Whoa, doing a fire. Extended universe, we break it down. From movies to comics, we're wearing that crown. Suit up with passion, we cover it all. Keeping you informed, we won't let you fall.